Hi, Keshav here. Welcome back. In previous video we saw how do we create mount point for ADLS and have the data loaded from CSV file that is there in ADLS. Alright, in this video I want to use same data set and I want to perform some sort of transformations and finally load the data into the different CSV file in ADLS. That's what I wanted to do here. Alright, first of all I imported all the required modules here and I created mount point. This I shown in previous video as well. Just have a look into my previous video. I'll just paste the link in the description below so that you can use it for your reference. Alright, I already created mount point and have a look into my previous video so that you'll get more clarity on this. I already loaded the data from CSV file that is there in ADLS, that is product underscore sales.csv, and I created data frame called df. And if you could observe here, so my data frame has got these fields: order year, category name, product name, color, order month, sales amount and tax amount. Alright, so what transformations I'm going to perform and finally how I'm going to load the data into ADLS back in different file. Alright, so here I want to create three calculated fields. One is profit and other one is tax percentage and profit percentage. Okay, I want to create three calculated fields. One is profit and I want to calculate the percentage of tax amount towards my sales, and also I want to calculate the percentage of profit also towards my sales. Okay, those three calculated columns I want to create. I don't want all these fields to be loaded into my final data frame, so I want only data to be grouped with calendar year, category name and color. Alright, based on these fields I want to group the data and find total sales amount, total tax amount. So along with that I want to create three more calculated fields, that is profit, and also I want to calculate tax percentage and profit percentage towards sales amount. Okay, that's what I want to do. Okay, so I don't want all these fields. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just create one data frame called df1 by calling only required fields instead of using all the fields. Okay, so first let me go ahead and create this data frame. So this data frame has got only required fields. Alright, if I go for df1 display, let me go for print schema so I could see all the column names and respective data types as well. Alright, df1 dot print schema. Alright, it should be df1, right? We just created df1. Okay, order year, it is an integer form, and category name string, color also string, then sales amount double, tax amount double. Okay, so when I group the data and perform the aggregations like total sales amount and tax amount, if I do separately sales amount and tax amount, no issues. But if I go and use aggregate function for all the numerical fields, so what happens, even order data also will be summed, right? Because it is also in integer form. I don't want that to be happen. So first let me convert that into string so that I can avoid aggregation happening on order year. I'm gonna just say df1 dot with column. Alright, so column name is same, order year, then column that I'm gonna convert, that is order year, and it has to be converted to string, so cast of string. Alright, now it should have been converted. Now let me go for df1 dot print schema. It's not been converted yet. Let's see what is the issue. Okay, it has been converted, but we haven't load that into data frame. Okay, I just created data frame again with the same name. Let me go for print schema. Now yes, it has been converted to string. Alright, now let me just go ahead and group the data and aggregate total sales and tax amount. Alright, I'm going to create same data frame, that is df1 equals to df1 dot group by. So group by what columns we're going to say? We are grouping with these columns. Okay, let me copy them. Alright, so grouping with these columns, and we're gonna calculate total sales and total tax. I'm gonna just say sum while parsing it. What is the problem? Yeah, there has to be one more parenthesis. Alright, we don't want this extra parenthesis, that's okay. Group by these columns, that's it. Alright, there is data frame created and also data has been grouped. So let me go for display. Alright, now we got data grouped with the required columns, order year, category name and color, and sales amount and tax amount. But if you observe here, column names created as sum within parenthesis, sales amount, sum of tax amount, right? We don't want that to be happening. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just rename these columns to the original columns. Okay, let me do that. I'm gonna just say again df1 equals to df1 dot with column renamed. So I'm gonna rename this sum of sales amount. Alright, here syntax would be the old column name and new column name. We don't need to use call function here, so let me just paste old column name, that is what, sum of sales amount, right? Sum of sales amount. It has to be renamed as sales amount. Alright, that's it. And we can rename even additional column also, and we need to rename even sum of tax amount, right? So for that, what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna just say with column renamed, I'm gonna just say sum of tax amount has to be renamed as tax amount. Alright, it should be fine, I think. Let me execute. Alright, it's been renamed. Now let me display df1. Alright, the columns are renamed as original column names, sales amount and tax amount. Alright, we are done. Now the next thing is we need to create one calculator field called profit and percentage also. Alright, so for that, what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna create one separate data frame df2 and df1 dot with column. So new column we're gonna create, and column name I'm gonna say profit. And how are you going to calculate the profit? We're going to calculate the profit like sales amount minus tax amount. So for that, what I'm going to say, call of sales amount minus call of, I'm going to call function to refer the column. So I'm going to just say tax amount. That's it. Should have been created. Alright, yeah, and then we can even calculate one more column. Let's see whether it will work or not. Column with column. So this time I'm gonna calculate tax percentage. Alright, so I'm gonna say call tax divided by column sales. Alright, sales amount. Let's say execute. So what is the issue with column? Yeah, we forgot to give column name, that is tax percent. Alright, it should be fine now. Alright, there is calculate column called tax percentage also created. So now let me just display. Alright, we created two calculated fields. One is profit, other one is tax percent. Okay, but tax percentage I need to cross with 100. I just forgot what happened. Okay, alright, tax percentage has been calculated. Alright, so now I wanted to calculate even profit percentage also. That's okay. Already we calculated tax percentage. So profit percentage would be 100 minus tax percentage, that's it. The percentage would be profit, that's it. Okay, so we don't need to calculate again. Alright, we created two calculated fields, profit and tax percentage. Already aggregated sales amount and tax amount by grouping with the fields order, year, category name and color. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do, so I don't want this many decimals for all these fields, sales amount and tax amount, profit and tax percentage. So I want to have only 2 digits for these calculated columns. I'm going to create one temp view by loading data from df2. Alright, so df2 dot create or replace temp view, and temp view name I'm going to name it as product sales. That's it. So one temp view has been created. Now I'm going to round this column values by using SQL statement here. I'm going to just load this into df3 and spark.sql. So either you can go for %SQL or you can call like this parks.sql. So it's up to you. You can change the language like %SQL. So after changing it, you can directly write SQL query. I'm not gonna change the language here. I'm gonna just call directly from Spark. Select what are the fields I want. So what I'm gonna say, df2 dot print schema, so that it will be easier for me to copy the columns. Alright, so let me copy here as is. I got nothing to do with here, and category name again as is, color as is. Now this I'm going to round it to have only 2 digits. Sales amount, it should be 2 digits, and I'm going to alias with same name. Now again tax amount, round of tax amount to 2 as tax amount. The next profit, you can round to 2. Fine. The next thing is tax percentage. This also I'm gonna round it to 2. Alright, from the view that we just created, that is product sales view, and let me close the quotations. That's it. Let me execute it. Alright, we got some error. Let's see what is the error. Alright, somewhere the round is not spelled correctly. Yep, I think it's fine now. Alright, so there is a data frame called df3 is created. Now let me go for display. Alright, all the fields are rounded to have only 2 digits, sales amount, tax amount, profit and tax percentage. Alright, so we are done. So the next, on top of this, I want to apply one more functionality. Okay, so I want to make this the select statement dynamic. So what are the value that I am passing through the variable? So based on that value, it has to be filtered and our data frame 3 has to be loaded. Alright, so for that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create one variable. The variable that I'm gonna create for category. Alright, so the data has to be loaded into file in ADLS. For the category, whatever we are passing, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just pass one condition here. This condition should be like where category name equals to whatever the category that we are passing. Alright, so I want to make this query dynamic. So first let me just go ahead and create text box. To create text box, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use dbutils dot widget dot text. So I'm going to create one text box called category, and I'm going to pass the default value blank. That's it. Let me execute it. Alright, see here there is one text box called category is created. Alright, so whatever the value we are passing through this text box, we need to catch through one variable. Okay, for that I'm going to create one variable called category. Alright, so category equals to dbutils dot widgets dot get. Okay, it has to get the value from the text box called category. Whatever value that we are passing through the text box category. So that value has to be passed to the variable called category that we just created. Alright, that's it. I'm gonna just say print of category variable. Alright, so currently we don't have any value because we did not pass anything. So if I pass something like test, see here, see value test is there. Alright, so whatever we are passing, so that value will be given to the variable called category. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to refer this category variable in our select statement for where condition. Alright, you can say where category name in what, so I'm going to say format, let me refer our variable that we just created, that is category. So it has to get the value from the variable that we just created, that is category. That's it. Now let me execute. Alright, our query executed, and now let me display if we have data. I'm expecting no data. Yes, so no data being loaded because the value whatever we passed here, we don't have that category. So now let me just check what categories we have. Let me pass caps and execute this select statement. Alright, executed. Now let me display this data frame. Alright, see here we get calendar year, category name, color, and respect to sales amount, tax amount, profit, and sales percentage. And if you observe here, category whatever we passed here, for same category we pulled, our select statement has loaded the data into df3. Alright, so now in case if I change the category value over there, maybe if I go for clothing, so let me execute again and let me display the df3. Alright, see here this time it has loaded data for category clothing. Alright, this is how we can make our notebook dynamic by using variables. Alright, fine. In this specific video I just aggregated total sales amount and tax amount, so by grouping with order year, category name, and color. Okay, on top of that we created a couple of calculated fields, profit and tax percentage, and we also created one text box through which we can pass the value to the variable and filter the data accordingly. Alright, okay, now let's go ahead and load the data back to ADLS by creating a new CSV file. Alright, so we have our final data in df3, right? So let me just refer df3 dot write .csv, and within quotes a CSV file has to be created in ADLS, right? For that we already created mount point. Let me refer the mount point here. Alright, mount point is kr demo. Alright, the file name that I want to create is transformed sales data. Alright, say a trans_product sales.csv. So the options that I'm gonna say, header equals to true, and also the mode should be like if file exists with the same name, so it has to be overwritten, right? So it should be CSV. Fine, mode equals to overwrite. Alright, it is executing now. Now what we can do, we can just go back to our ADLS and check if the file is created or not. Alright, kr demo, under kr demo we got container called development, under development. Alright, see here trans product sales.csv is created, file is partitioned, that's okay, let's not worry about that. Alright, see here data has been loaded only for clothing. In case if you pass different value, like in place of clothing, let me pass maybe bikes or caps. I'll pass bikes. Let me execute. I'm going to execute this first, then finally I'm going to execute to overwrite the file. So this time I am expecting data to be loaded only for bikes. Alright, see here, data is loaded for only bikes this time. So this is how it works. Alright, I hope this is clear for you guys. So very simple. We just loaded raw data from CSV file that is there in ADLS. So after that we did some sort of transformations. We aggregated sales amount, tax amount by grouping with required columns, that is calendar year. So that is order year, category name and color. Then we create a couple of calculator fields, that is profit and a tax percentage. So once it is done, we create a text box, and also we define one variable, and that variable we referenced in the final select statement to have the data filtered for the category that we are passing through text box. Okay, what are the categories that we are passing through text box? That category will be passed back to variable, and that variable will filter the records based on the input value. All right. So and finally we just loaded back to ADLS by creating new CSV file. All right. So that's it. In next video we'll see how do we execute this node. In next video we'll see how do we execute this notebook in ADF and pass the input value from ADF and have the data filtered. Alright, so I hope this is clear for you guys. So thanks for watching my video. Please do subscribe for more videos from my side on ADF, Azure Databricks and also Power BI. Alright, we'll meet again. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.